we have over 15 million people unemployed. 10 to 12 million people will lose their homes in the next year. 47 million Americans go to bed hungry every night. 47 million Americans don't have any health care. Millions of Americans have lost their investments, their pensions, their retirement security. We have things to take care of here at home, and we cannot continue to spend money on these foreign adventures. War is part of our permanent economy, and a war-based economy eventually is going to collapse because it relies on death, it makes money for military contractors, it limits the opportunities of young people for the future, and it drains money from other priorities. We can't sustain this. America's going broke.
War on terror has the ability to allow the U.S. to carry out military operations that since 2001 have taken the lives of more than 1 million civilians. In Iraq, in Afghanistan, now in Libya, and of course that leads to an escalation of resistance, of hatred, of revenge. And so in terms of keeping the American people safe, that's a ridiculous notion.
A day, the UK's biggest banks are rescued by the British taxpayer, the world's central banks act together to slash interest rates, and yet the International Monetary Fund warns we're facing a major economic downturn. The day began with the bailout, the Prime Minister and the Chancellor making it clear that the financial system is so important to our society that by saving our banks, we're saving ourselves.
If you read economics, they present it as though it's a science. I've read through much of the curriculum of what bachelor's and master's degree Harvard University students would read for their degrees in economics. Economics is not a science. It's an invention. It's a contrivance. It's funny, you look at economics books and they have graphs and charts and they make complex novel equations. It's all contrived. It doesn't have any relationship to the natural order of things. It is based upon a folk way of orienting production and distribution, and we've established this massive structure that makes it seem valid. There's really nothing anyone needs to know about economics than the fact that the entire global economic system is based upon people constantly consuming, irregardless of the state of affairs and natural orders of energy, planetary materials, and anything else. It is blind, narrow consumption with absolutely no regard for the environment. As of right now, we are running out of oil. We are going to be running out of natural gas. In fact, very simply, all fossil fuels, which is the governance of all society, our entire society is completely created based on fossil fuels, from the plastics, everything. I won't even go into it. Anyone who questions that, just take a moment to think about what oil powers, what fossil fuels power, from the lights that we all use, from the coal or natural gas power plants, to what runs your car, to what comprises the fabric of industrial civilization is fossil fuels, and we are provably using them at a rate far exceeding their renewability, which takes hundreds of millions of years. No one's thinking about this. No one is thinking about it because the economic paradigm will not allow it. The core value of Western society today, I mean, in America, the central motivating value now is nothing but blind consumption.
And then during the Depression, there were 15 million people sleeping in every empty lot. That's a lot of people. What happened is they bought houses and cars, and the banks failed. You know what? They closed down. And they couldn't get their own money out. So they were kicked out of the buildings they bought. And they were sleeping in every empty lot, millions of Americans. And I looked around, and the stores had everything in the windows, you know, radios in those days, whatever people would need, but they had no money. So then I thought, there's something wrong with our system. You know, how can this happen in this country? I didn't have any answers, but there were people up on soapboxes talking about Mankind United, a new organization, technocracy, socialism, communism. Every part, everybody, every university, kids were talking about social change because conditions were bad. See, that brought them around to it. So at that time, I hitchhiked. I was going to hitchhike to Florida for other reasons because the winter was so cold, we didn't have heat, and I had to get to Florida. So in hitchhiking toward Florida, when I saw an old man walking with all his worldly goods on his shoulder, you know, they call him a bindle stiff. That's an impoverished person with all his worldly goods in a blanket, and he was shuffling very slow. So I called out to him. I wanted to help him carry that load because he can hardly walk. But I called out several times. He was also hard of hearing. And he turned around and he had acromegaly. You know what that is? Elephant man disease. His face was all distorted. And as a kid, I didn't know what that was. And I was kind of shocked by that. And I kept hitchhiking till I got into, I think it was Savannah, Georgia. And I went to the local police station. And I said, I have no place to sleep. Can I sleep in the jail? They said, only if we fingerprint you. Well, since I didn't commit any crimes, I said, sure, go ahead. Then they put me in this jail with a dull red light. I must have been about 16 or so. And the toilet bowl had shit all over it. It was filthy. There was no place to sleep. It was dirty. So I just sat in the corner and looked at that red light. It was sort of depressing, you know. And then I heard moaning in the next cell. And I looked in there, it was this dull red light. There was this guy with acromegaly, the old man with a distorted face who couldn't speak. So I banged on the bars of the prison, and a trustee came over. He said, what do you want? I said, this old man belongs in a hospital, not prison. And he said, no good bum. These people seem to have no humanity at all, none. So I said, he belongs in the hospital. Well, shut up. He went away. And I left the next day, and I met another kid my age, about 16 or so, and we both continued together. And the guy drove up in a fairly new-looking car, and he said, would you kids like to make a buck? So the kid that I was with said, I'd like to make a buck. What do you want me to do? So I went to tell my girlfriend I can't see her Saturday. I'll be occupied. And so she'll give you a package for me. So what the note said, I found out later, the girl was a cashier at a movie theater. And the note that the kid gave to the girl was, if you don't give the kid all the money you've got there, we'll blow your head off. We got guns aimed at you. So the guy was using this kid, and this kid didn't know what the hell it was about. So the woman screamed, and the police came and took the kid away. I had nothing I could do. I was in rags myself, you know. And I remember saying in my own head, boy, this shit's got to go.
Tonight on the Money Programme, we're going to look at money. Lots of it, on film and in the studio. Some of it in nice piles, others in lovely clanky bits of loose change. Some of it neatly counted into fat little hundreds, delicate fivers stuffed into bulging wallets, nice, crisp, clean checks, pert pieces of copper coinage thrust deep into trouser pockets, romantic foreign money rolling against the thigh with rough familiarity, beautiful wayward curly-cued banknotes, filigree copper grating cheek by jowl with tumbling hexagonal milled edges, rubbing gently against the terse leather of beautifully balanced bank books.
This is my Honda S2000. It's supercharged, it's intercooled. It has a nitro system in it. This is my everyday car. It's a BMW 530i.
We got my barbecue pit and I'm tip. This is the best, man. This is the motherfucking best, man. I'll put me a motherfucking hamburger on here, a hot dog on here.
So this is my pool.
Now look here, this is the finest, this is the best. The best swimming pool or either whatever you want it. Look, I even got fish up here.
This is our foyer. This is the 40-foot ceiling. This is my workout room.
My guest bedroom. Oh, wait a minute, hold it. I got my real partner over here sitting back up in my guest bedroom. You understand me, looking at some real entertainment things.
Ah, cracking, y'all. What's really going on? This is how we do it over here in Playersville.
This is the arcade. At night, we like to come out here. The pool's heated, so when it's cold outside, it's sort of like a giant hot tub.
Right here, look here. You understand me? He got a convertible top on my guest bedroom. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, look at that. That's big drink, baby.
What we got here is our lake with our boat. It's my bike. It's a Repsol CBR.
It's like being on vacation every day.
It is.
It truly is.
Fuck, man. See what I'm talking about? I got shit on my motherfucking floor, man.